All right, welcome to today's workout breakdown. Today we'll be going over my Thursday deadlift day. I did this one last Thursday, so I'm recording this video a couple days later. A little bit different of a backdrop. Before I jump into it, real quick, just going to get down to business. Recently accepted into the First Form affiliate program. What that means is if you use any of the links that I put in the video description or the hyperlink on my homepage, I get a small commission from any of your first-time purchases. Full transparency, I don't yet use First Form, so I encourage you to do your own research on the supplements if supplements are something you're looking to get into. Everything I've read about First Form so far, though, all my own personal research, makes them seem like a really good company, taking care of their customers, their affiliates, their employees, everything. And scrolling through their website, all their products look great. I'm currently waiting on their ECAAs and hydration sticks. Should be getting here this week. Once I get them, I'll start taking them and then give an honest assessment on them. And I'll just do a full video breaking down supplements if you have any interest in that. So all that just to say, I'd appreciate if you use my link. Do your own research on supplements. Even after I do the honest assessment, don't just take my word for it. Continue to do your own research. Just because something's working for me doesn't mean it's going to work for somebody else. Everybody is different in that way, and same goes for working out. Just because a certain program works for one person doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody else. All right, that's real quick breaking down the business. Hopefully I didn't lose everybody by now, as we're going to get into last Thursday's deadlift day, which I'm excited about because I haven't recorded one of these days yet. So getting into it, Thursday deadlift day, we basically left somewhat the same. However, I'll be referencing my phone just to look at the workouts real quick. For the deadlifts, my desire has been to build a little bit of extra muscular endurance. I've been doing a whole lot of heavyweight, low reps. I've talked a lot about adding more volume to my chest day. And I just wanted to build up a little bit more muscular endurance when it comes to some of the bigger lower body stuff. I've kept my squat where it is, but as I'm building up heavier in weight, I've talked about how my deadlifts are pretty light to begin with. So this week we did 370, supposed to be 4 sets of 3 like it is for all the other big lifts, but I broke it down into 2 sets this week, and that looked like a set of 8 is where I stopped at, and then I did one more set of 4. Again, that's just because I'm wanting to build a little bit more endurance, and I wanted to see where I'm at as far as being able to rep out some heavier weight, although we're kind of still just in week 2, so making the lighter weights a little bit more difficult for myself. That's just personally where I wanted to be with it. We'll see as I progress through the weeks and the weights get heavier if I want to keep trying to limit the amount of sets I do and do more reps for each set, or if we just get to a point where 4 sets of 3 seems like that's going to be ideal, and we just keep pushing forward with that. My goal again for this next coming week is to break it down to hopefully just 2 sets. We'll see how many I can get in the first set, and then do the rest in the second set. That being said, the first week I was able to do all 12 reps of 360 in one set, which was I impressed myself doing. So deadlifts this week felt fine, still pretty light. 370, 2 sets, 1 set of 8, which I'll show. I think I got 2 different angles because I made a short of it earlier in the week as well, and no issues with the deadlifts. Second set of 4 was again nice and easy, and ready to move on to, I believe, 380 this coming week. So I don't expect 380 to be difficult either, but that's where we're at with deadlifts. Also right now, as I'm working the lighter weights, I'm kind of concentrating a little bit more on form, and you'll see that I just go through all 8 reps in the interest of not tiring out too much. There are days where I do full resets, and the point of the full resets is to get that brace down, get the form down, get all your cues down, because that's what you're going to be doing for your 1 rep max. You just get the 1 rep and that's it. It's a little bit easier to not reset in between each rep when you're doing deadlifts, just holding your brace all the way through until you're done with the set. So after deadlifts, which again we did in 2 separate sets, we knocked out our deficit deadlifts. Again, the reason why I'm doing these is because my biggest issue is ripping the weight off the ground. That's where I have my big problems at. Once I get the weight off the ground, everything moves pretty quick. Even today when I was doing my speed deadlifts, that initial rip off the ground felt as if it was twice as long as the rest of the motion, which, the rest of the motion is about 80% once the weight comes up off the ground. But I move pretty quickly once I get the weight off the ground. It's just getting the weight off the ground that always gives me issues. So we did 3 sets of 3 with that. I always like to do that beltless. Again, sorry, I keep referencing my phone here. Just because I do the heavier deadlifts with my belt on. So if I could lose a little bit of the support and gain some extra strength by going beltless, I like to do that. And I do the same thing for squats until I get up to heavier weight. We did that at 70%, so 320, so 345s and a 2.5 on each side. And those felt fine. So I said I did 3 sets of 3. Scratch that. I did a set of 6 and then a set of 3. Again, just trying to build that endurance, and everything felt good. I'm being distracted right now by Dale digging a giant hole that I'm gonna have to fill, but I'm not gonna get upset with him. I'll just fill the hole when I'm done with this. So you'll see here the set of 6. Again, everything felt fine. I've added a little bit extra height to it by putting a 10-pound bumper plate on top of the 45, and then I think I may add just a little bit more height next week. Just helping get that full extension of the lower back and really building that strength coming up off the ground, so that eventually we get to a point where that weight just kind of comes off the ground with ease. Cool. And so then after the deficit deadlifts, we moved into barbell rows. That should be 4 sets of 8 that we did for barbell rows, which it was. So 4 sets of 8. I think I started at 185 and then moved up to either 225 or 245. It might be 245. My form gets a little sloppier, obviously, as I get heavier with those. That's why I try to start with a lightweight, keep my form nice and strict, and really concentrate the stress where it's supposed to be, which is the upper back, lats. But as I get heavier in weight, that's adding a little bit more of the central nervous system in it, get a little bit sloppier with the movement, but at the end of the day, still getting plenty out of it. So then we did our 4 sets of 8 with that. Everything felt fine. Like I said, I got a little sloppier at the end there. No big deal, as long as you're being safe and getting something out of it. That's the way I look at it. Feel free to argue if you like. So then after the barbell rows, we should have done some hypers, reverse hypers, which you did. So 3 sets of 12 with the reverse hypers. I always got to use the quarters on that. Otherwise, the big 45s always smash me in the shins. I try to reduce the amount of momentum that I put into each rep, but once you start swinging on that thing, the momentum almost takes you for a ride. But again, I feel plenty of work happening in my lower back there. Reverse hypers have almost been a game changer for me. Tweaking my back used to be, I wouldn't say a common occurrence, but I would expect for it to happen every few months. Ever since throwing these reverse hypers in there, they've reduced the amount of times I've tweaked my back, and then they help me with recovery should I end up tweaking my back. So I love having the reverse hypers in there. It was something when I was writing the program, I almost left them out, and then I was like, no way, we're putting the reverse hypers in there. So I did 3 sets of 12 on that. Haven't really been progressively overloading with reverse hypers, just kind of stay at whatever weight is comfortable, especially after I've done those bigger compound lifts at the beginning of the workout, excuse me. And then after the reverse hypers, we went into our sort of high intensity workout for this day. I've added about 2 days worth of high intensity stuff. So on Wednesday, I do a little circuit that includes the assault bike, some burpees, and the ski erg. And then on Thursday now, I do kettlebell swings and assault bike. And I do 12 kettlebell swings into a 30-second hard on the assault bike for 3 sets. And then once I'm done with the 3 sets of the kettlebell swings, I hop onto the assault bike and do 2 more sets of 30 seconds hard, 1 minute light to finish up the high intensity stuff. and that replaces one of my ab days. I still do abs on the days I'm not doing high intensity training, but that's just something to kind of get my heart rate up. When I go with Dale on the runs, it's a much slower pace. We stop every minute or two so that he can sniff bushes and pee on them and whatnot. So I don't get a ton of cardiovascular work out of the runs that I do. So instead of leaving Dale home and doing harder runs, I've decided to add a little bit more of the high intensity stuff at the end of a couple of these workouts. And then we'll still go out and do the run. Just not stressed about getting a ton out of the run because I've already gotten my heartbeat pumping up. And then after the high intensity stuff, I do the run. Sand is going to be hitting the camera here because Dale's digging. I do the light run. Me and Dale do about 3 miles. I've been breaking it up a little bit, giving him some more off days. I was probably running a little bit too often with him, and I always want to make sure he's well rested for our Saturday trail runs because those are the important runs to me. I like to get him up to the wilderness to where he can run around and be free and go back to his roots as being a wolf thousands of years ago. But that wraps it up for my deadlift day last Thursday. This was week 2, day 4. What I'll probably do in this coming week is I have a trail run that I never got posted from last weekend, which was pretty cool because it was in the deep snow. And B, I'm thinking about just doing a breakdown of the first 2 weeks to kind of see where we're at, tell you big picture the things that I've changed in these last 2 weeks from beginning to each day, what I wanted to shift around. To be honest with you, a lot of changes, so I want to kind of summarize all those just to see where we're at moving forward. And lastly, I'll give a quick pitch. Currently just started day 1 of my own personal 31-day challenge where I'm going to do every single day for 31 days, just go through my routine. So what that means is I show up to the gym or to the trails and just either lift weights or go through a stretching and recovery day. And that is just to reestablish my consistency, reestablish my routine, and get us back to baseline. At the end of the 31 days, we'll be all fresh and stuck back into our routine. Not that I've gotten out of the routine, but it's just something I kind of like to do every now and again. And I like to encourage new gym goers to do the same thing. Just show up, pick a routine, stick to that routine for 31 straight days, make it a habit, be consistent, and then that'll carry over and you won't want to get off your routine. Now, after the 31 days, obviously you can throw in a couple rest days here and there. And even as you're going through the initial 31 days, there's still rest and recovery days in there. It's just that you're doing the same thing every single day, whether it be wake up, walk the dog, make some coffee, hit the gym for an hour, hour and a half, and then carry on with your day. If you want to follow along, I'm posting every single day. I'll mark it day 1, day 2, and then all the way up to day 31, just showing one of the movements from each day. And then I'll do a summary video possibly at the end of each week or maybe at the halfway point, and then when I'm complete with it. That's all I got for today. Gonna get this video posted here sometime today, Sunday, and then tomorrow it's right back to leg day with some squats, getting heavier, getting up there more into the 300 range. All right, talk to you later. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, subscribe.